Dandavat Pranam. How many of us here out of this group? How many people do we have now? We have 13 of us. How many of us here actually attended the initial chapters of Ayodhya Kanda? How many of us here? Please send me a yes on the chat. Whoever has attended, say the first 20 chapters of Ayodhya Kanda. Please give me a yes. Join. Okay. What I want all of you to be doing is, please go ahead and contribute as I am speaking. Is the recording on?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, please go ahead and contribute as and when I'm speaking something. Switch on and go ahead and contribute something. I'll try to pause every now and then. I'll be very happy receiving as many contributions from you. Small points, big points, what really etched in your heart, whatever you see. But just go ahead and share those points. It will be very nice to bring about all those. Anybody has an idea what date we started Ayodhya Kanda? Roughly? January 2020. The note that I have here says we started in Jan 2020. So it looks like we have done 52 plus 52, 104, 104 plus another 1 month, 4 weeks. 108 weeks. We have been able to cover 119 chapters. Mind you, I goodly modified possibly 6, 7 classes, possibly even closer to the 10, anywhere from 7 to the 10 to my memory. So I think this has been a great tapasya for all of us. 2 straight years, 2 years and 1 month. Mind you, and these have been the COVID zone also. The first class, if I am right, was 16th Jan. So the first couple of classes would have been physical. But the 29th Jan class, I think 29th Jan is when the first Dubai COVID case happened. So I think come early Feb, we had already moved into the online mode. So I'm happy with the devotees and the adaptation that we've been able to move on and how we managed through those difficult times. But the fact that Rama gave us the opportunity to actually go through the entire Ayodhya Kanda, which is the biggest Kanda in Ramayana. So with that prayer, let's begin speaking today. What I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to run through a particular chapter here. I saw Radha Sakhi Mataji come up with qualities of Rama. So I will leave her to, is she here? If any of you are in touch, just message her. If she can be here, that should be great. She may be able to contribute. But there are many of you who have been around for a long time, who have also been reading Ramayana regularly, would love to hear from you any contributions there are. So when we begin the first chapter, one of the first verses talks about how Dasaratha loved all his sons greatly. And then one of the early verses refers to Rama as being Vishnu itself. And then we move on to Rama's qualities. So Rama's qualities comes in 2 segments, rather 3 segments. Once as stated by the people, once in the very first chapter as is seen by Valmiki and Dasaratha, what he sees in Rama, because of which he wants to coronate him. So that's the zone where Rama's qualities are being spoken about. So can some of you quickly tell me what qualities of Rama you remember from off the top of your head? Give me the first 3 that come to you. Switch on, mic on, and
Hare
give me
Krishna, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Prabhu, like this is what I remember from my notes. Like you did say that it was Lord Rama was suitable for the post of the king. He proved it in every aspect. And then you also spoke, I'm going a bit off topic also, but then you also spoke about how democracy is like it was more as of a democracy instead of a monarch, though it was a monarch. but it was also democracy. Like the elements of democracy were there in the kingdom. And then when people were asked for any other alternatives other than for Lord Rama, they didn't have any. You also spoke that how he was a great elephant rider, and the kings also wanted him whenever Lord Rama comes to the palace, that he should be on an elephant and go to the palace. And then everyone worshipped him.
Okay, just the one point there. Very nice points. Thank you. And you can continue after this. The point of the elephant is, when will he be on the elephant? Is we are talking about Shatrunjaya, the special elephant that they had, which was the true royal elephant. So the king sits on the elephant. So the question of when is the elephant is when is the coronation, literally. Move on. Anybody else? Come on, let's contribute. What other points? What do we remember on Rama's qualities? Quickly.
He was not attached to any of the, even though he was about to be coronated, he just when he came to know of the news, he was not disturbed at all. He took it as as a blessing only.
Very nice, very nice. Anybody else? And we'll come back to Jayant. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. In the beginning, there were some qualities that you had spoken about in terms of Lord Rama's appearance and his other qualities also. His appearance, it's compared with the walk of an elephant. He has very powerful arms, and he's compared to the king of Gandharvas, and his face is like a lotus, and his smile is like a moonbeam. So those were some of the things about his appearance, and also of his personality. That was Purvabhashi, that is, he's proactive with elders. He gives respect to those, even those who are disrespectful to him. Even if someone speaks ill, he still always speaks very pleasing words without any harshness.
Very nice. I'll just interrupt you there. Uchyamanaha api parusham nottaram pratipadyate. He does not return harsh words with harsh words. Always with a serene state of mind. Go on, Nandrani, or is it Gokul Taruni? One of you.
Yes, Nandrani. Okay, so he is phenomenally intelligent, and he is strong. He keeps thoughts to himself and never speaks a lie. And one point that you had addressed during that time was, whenever we see our seniors or devotees who are elder to us or superior to us, we should not wait for them to come and speak to us. We should ourselves go and offer our respects first.
Very nice. So that is Purva Bhashi. Yes. And the other point that comes here is that Samvritakara, very important. That, being over expressive is not a grave quality of a grave king. So that was a beautiful quality. Very nice. Very nice. Go on. Wait. Gokul Tarini, hold. Somebody else? Before you close it all. Somebody else? Very nice. Great notes. Jayant, Gokul Tarini, very nice. And Mataji is speaking of her memory, if I'm right. I think that was Gauri Mataji. Come on. Somebody else. Vriddhanam Pratipujakaha. Yeah, which is the point that Gokul Tarini was making here. That, he goes to the elders and offers respects to them. Very nice. Then, Vriddha Sevi is another word that is used for him. Deenanukampi, very, very kind to people. What else? Jayant, back to you. Jayant, Gokul Tarini, shoot.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, then you started speaking on how King Dasaratha took advice from so many people when he was...
Stick to Rama's qualities, Jayant.
Oh, yes,
then we'll come to that. If you have any qualities, you speak.
Yes, Lord Rama was great, as he asked everyone's advice one by one on each topic, like on each discussion. And
have your food.
Okay. And then He also was like really very strict, or in the sense we can't use the word exactly strict, but he took a lot of care in regards to cleanliness. This was discussed when they were in the forest.
Really? That's interesting. Okay. I
Uh,
don't
it
know.
was when he asked
No.
the minister to wipe his hand, to wipe his tears when I'm forgetting.
Okay. Okay.
And then
What else?
again, Lord sees and appreciates all services done for him. He remembers one service done for him, but not the 100 mistakes committed for
Very
him.
nice. Very, very nice. Kachit upakarena kritena ekena. One upakara he will remember, but 100 offenses he will forget. Remember Sishupala. Then,
And then he was worried about the people of Ayodhya. So that's why he kept on asking the minister to leave the forest and go back to the kingdom again. And then, even though he himself being the Lord, he paid respects to the water Ganges. Then he says to minister and the I think Wuha to leave. And then he also promised a lot of stuff to the people around the bank, like after when he was returning back.
Rama's qualities, something else. Gokul Taruni, anything else?
Yes, Prabhu. One point was that he is compassionate to the distressed and he has completely given up on anger, and he doesn't remember what he does for others, and connecting to what he just said, he is pleased with even a single benefit done to him, and he forgives 100 offenses, and
Very,
he knows how much to speak and when to speak. And you had given us some very practical lessons at that time, that it's not necessary that we have to express every thought we have in our head. We have to be selective and speak what is needed, what is necessary at that particular situation. And one more thing was, we shouldn't be overconfident, and Lord Rama was not overconfident. A devotee shouldn't be left to defend himself. That was something you had said at that time. That others should know how the personality of a devotee is, because it's very unfortunate for a person to defend himself in a situation where he's being criticized. So that's because we may develop overconfidence. So we should avoid that.
nice, nice. Hare Krishna, very nice. So that more or less concludes our first chapter. So we are done with one chapter, but this is too slow. But some of these chapters have a lot of points to make. So let's not, in the name of brevity, lose out on the major points. Then Dasharatha comes and says, "My body is now become old, and I'm able to see that." He says only somebody who has control over his senses can actually rule. He says, "I'm convinced, and I'm here to convince you. And if with your permission, I want to take rest by installing my son. I've ruled for a very long time." And he says, "Anuja Anujato hi mam sarva gunaihi." All of my qualities he has taken. See, when a person is replacing one with the other, you have to say, whatever you find in this, you will find in this for sure. So don't worry. He's trying to tell them that. And then, so beautifully he's approaching in telling them. And then he seeks the permission, which Jayant had also touched about. Uh, 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 Yadidam me anurupartam. It is me anurupa. It's I love this. Maya. But Sumantrinam, I've already spoken to my Sumantris, to my mantris. But Katamba Karavanyaham, what I should do, you should tell me. So this is where the monarchy is turning to be better than a democracy, where he's asking his people what they should do, what he should do. Should he put Rama there? So then he is saying, who will ask this question? Which again, Giant picked up. Do you have an alternate person? Yes, who can do better welfare for you? And when Dasharatha said, what happened? Immediately, it's as if the whole palace was reverberating like peacocks. where they were all screaming out loud. All of their hands were up in jubilation. Many of the hands were in pranam mudra. So it seemed such a joyous environment. Everybody was suddenly celebrating. So here is Dasharatha singing, looking at what is this? Huh? Um, what is happening? So he even asked this question. So he first says, "Oh, was I bad at the way I was ruling?" Then, as if he doesn't know, he's asking his people, "What is it that you see in Rama so much better than me?" It actually comes from the desire for the Father to hear the glorification of Rama coming from the people directly. And this is also an important role of a leader that he is playing, to see that your people are there with you. So what do the people respond? Look at the beautiful response of the people. They say, no, 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 listen, not that there was anything, but Natham Kamayatha Medini. They see that the earth actually desires to have Rama as their Lord. To say that he gives happiness to everybody like moonlight, uh, earth like forbearance, and all these qualities. Okay, I am actually saying it instead of you people saying it. And that he's a musician. That's also interesting to me, because I'm a little into the music side. Enquiries from all about their well-wishers. So when he comes back from an expedition, he's always inquiring with people. He's there with the kids. He's engaging with everybody in the as praja. When there is a difficult situation for a family, he's grieving with them. And when it comes to the elders, he's always following dharma. He's serving the aged people. These are all the things that the people are telling him. That's the second set of qualities. And they conclude with that point that the earth wants to rule. And then they say that striyo vriddha tarunasya sayam prataha sarvam devan namasyanti Ramasyarte, for the sake of Rama, whether it is the young people, whether it is old people, whether it is ladies, all of them are praying for Rama, to all the to the Supreme, to all the personalities. They are praying for Lord Rama. Those are the comments that I had put in place for chapter 2. Somebody has anything else that I'm skipping out here? Any add-ons to chapter 2? Do I have Hemarupa Prabhu here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, okay, can I hear comments on the third chapter? Arrangements for coronation. Any comments? Memories?
Uh,
Not
the
only from you.
arrangements were huge. The entire city was decorated from all the sides. We had mentioned the huge presence of elephants also. There were jubilations. There were puja samagris here and there. All the citizens, all the rishis, munis, ministers were in a jubilant mood. And we also spoke about the Kalasha being there, and it was circumlated after, Rama could not become coronate, but then he circumlated the Kalasha. He also circumlated his parents. That was also being taught to the youth, that, we have to circumlate the parents. Yeah. But the preparations were huge. Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
I
So
remember
what happens when sorry, Prabhu, Boli.
the presence of elephant, even they have been decorated with ornaments, etc.
So as soon as Dasharatha sees this rousing response coming from the people, he looks at Vashishta and he says, please go ahead, let us go ahead. Chaitram Shriman Ayam, the Chaitra Masa is here, let's go ahead. He instructs Vashishta. Vashishta immediately goes ahead and tells all his people, what are they getting ready? By early morning, gold, metals, gems, articles of worship, herbs, garland, white flowers, roasted corn, honey, clarified butter, fresh clothes, chariots, weapons of every kind, army of the 4 divisions, an elephant possessing auspicious marks, white fan of yak hair, a standard white pastoral, white parasol, 100 golden vessels shining like fire, a bull with gold-plated horns and a tiger skin. And the gates, the whole place should be sandalwood, sandal paste and garlands all over the place, fragrance. Everything should be cooked with milk and curd. Gifts, food, festivities. Brahmanas were honored with sumptuous prasadam. And then, they were chanting various mantras and all of that. Banners, festoons, the royal highways were sprinkled, cleaned. The courtesans were there. People from the villages were all over the place. Persons who were catering food and garlands were all over the streets. All the temples had been beautifully redone and washed. Let all the warriors be in fresh clothing, etc. So Vashishta then went to Dasharatha and said, "Sab prabandh ho gaya, everything up and done." So then they go arrange for Rama to be summoned. So when Rama is coming, Ratham Dadarsha, Dasharatha is looking at how beautiful Rama is looking when he is coming. There's a waves of people. The Valmiki's description is like an ocean. In the ocean, suddenly when a boat is coming, like that, Rama is coming in his Ratha. And that is where some of the points that Gokul Taruni had touched upon come there. Gandharva Raja Pratimam, looking like the Gandharva. Loka Vikyata Paurusham, that is his great capabilities was very well known. Dirgabahum, Maha, Sattvam, a person in great Sattva, Dirgabahu, long arms, Matta Matanda Gaminam, as she said, elephant's gait, Chandra Kantananam Ramam, looking like the moon, Ativa Priyadarshanam, so beautiful to look at. Rupau Tarya Gunaihi, not only Rupa, but Audarya, kindness, Gunaihi, great qualities, Pumsam, Drishti Chitta, Apaharinam, whoever saw him, they lost his eyes to him. Later, Dasharatha will also say this. It's always the experience of people when they see the beauty of Rama, they lost their eyes with him. Dharma, Abhitaptaha. So, all of these wonderful qualities of Rama that are being described over and over again. This is the beauty of Ramayana, that we get to hear so much about Rama, so much praise about Rama constantly, and these things get ingrained in our heads. So everybody, as he was coming, he was folding his hands when he came in front of Dasharatha. Dasharatha gets him, catches him with his hand, with one hand, and embraces him very happily, delighted to see his son. So then Dasharatha gives him some advice. Can somebody give me some points on what is the advice that Dasharatha gives him? Dasharatha's advice.
Prabhu,
Okay.
advice on whom we should take advice from?
No, to Rama. Very
Okay.
interesting. Out of affection, Dasharatha is giving sneha te hitam vakshyami. He says, be humble, always keep your senses under control. He knows he's going to be coronated tomorrow. This is like a father before his son is going for an interview, like that. Dasharatha is actually speaking to him and giving him advice. Keep off all violations arising from lust and anger. Keep the ministers and people satisfied. Ensure that the granaries are filled with grains and arsenal. Keep the subjects loyal and contented. Yes, this is very interesting. Kaushalya will be very happy to hear. Go and communicate this news to her. And he says, happily give away gold, cows, and all of this. So Dasharatha is, giving away profusely. So Dasharatha is very fulfilled that Rama is going to take over. He says, now I'm old. I've enjoyed all the pleasures of life. I performed great rituals, and now it is for my progeny to take this over, and that is in my liking. Na kinchit mam kartavyam. There's nothing else for me to do. Everything done. Sarva karma krita hoy. I'm satisfied. So, but then Dasharatha also shares with him that I'm seeing some negative omens. I'm getting some frightening dreams. During daytime, I see meteors accompanied by thunder falling. And the astrologers have told me there is some I have some issues with my stars, and therefore I want to go ahead and install you as the king. So this is the first he's getting info from people. Now he's calling Rama and he's informing him. Um, and then he also mentions that it's good. It's happening now. Even Bharata is not here, so let's get this done. Vraja iti. Now you may go. So Dasaratha bids farewell to Rama and sends him back. Anybody, any comments? Chapter 3, done. Any comments? Additions? Okay. Now I move on to chapter 4 to 7. So what's happening when we begin chapter 4 is there's loud music and party coming from Kaushalya's home. Hmm? Just this thing. It's a very festive look that Kaushalya's home is having. So Rama comes there, Sita, Lakshmana, Sumitra, all of them are there. They're very close knit folks. So Kaushalya at that time is prayerful with her eyes half closed. So at that time he comes and tells her that um, Kaushalya, what was she doing? She was meditating on Vishnu. And then when this is coming, when this news is coming, then she feels Purushe Pushkarekshana. She is worshipping Pushkarekshana, the one with the lotus eye, Mahavishnu. So Rama comes and tells her that my father has given me a seva. What is the seva? The seva of taking care of people. And then he says Lakshmana is going to be ruling this place with me. Sumitra is also there. And then again, there is a little talk about how after that they take the blessings of both the mothers, and then they move on. There's another description. Rama going back to his place. He's going towards Sita actually to speak to her. And citizens began decorating the city, flags, festoons, trees, public halls, everything, making arrangements for people who are coming in for them to stay and be there. Oceans of people in the public square. There's a chatter of everybody being heard all over the place. There's a clatter of the hooves of the horses, the trumpeting of the elephants. The whole place is just festive and ready at that point in time. So at Rama's residence, so Rama reaches his residence, and the residence is full of cheerful men and his friends, men and women, and all of those people. And many people have flocked there to come and see him. And there, Vashishta, like a white cloud, forces his way. He comes and visits Rama in between. So, and he asks Rama to fast. He teaches, he gives him some mantras. There is for the installation ceremony, what needs to be done. So Rama takes bath in the morning, and then he is meditating on Narayana. Narayana, meditating on Narayana. So, took bath, he took prasadam, and then with a restrained mind, a vow of silence, meditating upon Narayana, he slept along with Vaidehi, and well spread bed of kusha grass in the auspicious temple of Lord Vishnu. So they slept in the temple that night as preparatory for what's coming. So in the morning he rose as usual, and then chanted Vedic hymns, was worshipping Vishnu, and he rose very early in the morning. Looking at all these festivities, everybody was so happy in this, but one person was not happy. So we move to that unhappy person segment. So can somebody give me anything from their notes on what happens beyond that? The word, interestingly, the word yadrichaya is being used. It seems it's also used when Surpanaka comes. Yadrichaya, suddenly, by chance, she landed there. And there's nothing yadrichaya. This is all planted so that the Lord's Leelas is this thing, but the same word is being used again in that. So Jati Dasi, where she came from, nobody knows. From somewhere she came, but she came with Kaikayi. She had Kaikayi's interest there. So she saw all these festivities, went to a maid, and she asked her, "Oh, you're dressed really cool today. What's happening?" And then she says, "Oh, don't you know Rama's getting coronated? That's a beautiful news that we are having." So Manthara is furious when she hears this, and then she goes. Um, And she goes and reports to Kaikeyi. Anybody, any comments you want to take on? I can go on.
Yeah, there, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Kaikeyi is very happy on hearing the news actually, and she gifts her with a necklace which Manthara just throws in front of her. So that is one.
Very nice. Very nice. So what she does is, when she says this, first thing she tells you, your husband dislikes you. The old man, it looks like when he's with you, he seems to be all gaga about you. But look at what he has done. So she's looking at, and she says, you're a nutcase. You're acting as if you don't know anything. You don't know what's happening here. He says, your sorrow is going to be, you're going to be really sorry what's happening here. Your husband is speaking morals publicly, but he's actually deceitful to you. So all this suddenly, and he says, he planned it. He sent Bharata away, and when Bharata away, he's announcing that Rama is now going to be installed. Actually, your husband is your enemy, and you should not trust him at all. Kaikeyi, when she hears, she doesn't hear the rest of the garbage she's talking. She hears that Rama is going to be coronated. She's so happy, as Mataji is saying. Kshipram kuru hitam tava. He says, tell me, what can I do for you? And then she gives her a gift. And then she says, Ramova Bharatova Aham Vishesham Nopalakshe. I've never had a difference between the two of them. So she gives her this, and that woman says, to hell with your gift, and throws that away. Yes. Then comes the next chapter. What happens next? Now, our Manthara comes out with a whole set of points why Rama's coronation is doomed for you. And she's convincing her piece by piece. The Kaikeyi, who says, actually, I'm very happy about this. But she says, which wise woman will be happy when her co-wife is going to become the queen mother? You nutcase, you wake up to this situation. So first he says, Bharata has equal claim. Yes. But, the fact that what is happening now, this is the true source of fear for Bharata. Rama is not a source of fear for Lakshmana or Shatrughna, but he's a source of fear for Bharata. So you should be careful, because they are opposed to each other. When one becomes a politician, he will do anything to put his place. So, if a Kshatriya is wise, he will give a supari to him and finish him off. Then he says, all of your servants, all of us will become servants to Kaushalya. Are you able to understand what is going to happen? Forget you. The next point, she says, your daughter-in-law, she gets married to, who's gotten married to this Bharata, she will also become servant to that Sita. That's what will happen. Is that what you want? So Kaikeyi is saying, no, he's the protector of his brothers. Rama always protects his brothers. And, Rama will give, will even possibly share the kingdom with Bharata. Everything has been well. There's never been, and Rama is truly worthy of coronation. Yes, he has done more seva to me than he has even done to Kaushalya. If Rama rules, it's as good as Bharata's ruling. Manthara says, stupid woman, you're unable to see your fate. You're sinking, and you're giving me all this bullshit logic. Even Rama's sons will succeed, Bharata will not succeed. Don't think that he will give him the kingdom. Then he says, so Rama will take this decision. It will never come to Bharata. And then what will happen to Bharata? Bharata will be disheartened. He will lose heart. Then your son will cry in front of you. Your son will be depressed. And then you will be pochofying his tears and all that stuff. And maybe you never know. Maybe he will banish Rama to some corner. He will send him to the Dandakaranya. So we don't know what will happen. So he will not harm Lakshmana, because Lakshmana is very dear. But Bharata is definitely in his list. Therefore, uh, he says specifically, you have messed around with Kaushalya a lot. Kaushalya will get back to you in a very big way. If there is a chance, it is now. So do what is necessary. So at that time, Kaikeyi is thinking, there is some weight in the words that this lady is speaking. So she's saying, with a soiled body, with a frowned face, lay down on the floor, go to the Shokagraha and let your hair loose, tightly fastening her hair into a single braid, wear soiled clothes. So then, after that, so she does that. So Dasharatha enters. When Dasharatha enters, he sees this and he says, Priyarha Priyam Akyatum. Priyarha. To that person who deserves his affection. Arhati Arha. Deserving his affection. To her, he wants to Priyam Akyatum, to give that very pleasing news. He is coming to her thinking that this is going to please her. He comes there to give this information to her. So he's seeing Kaushalya is completely dejected. The place which is generally filled, reverberating with parrots and peacocks, with the cries of the crownchers, and always attended by so many people. The Champaka and Ashoka trees, such a beautiful place. Pictures all over, altars, sofas, embellished with ivory, gold, and silver, trees bearing fruits, flowers. This kind of beautiful place suddenly now seems to be fully closed out, charged with passion. The king became very, very dejected. Never before, when he comes from the court, he has ever seen that Kaikeyi is missing in that space. This is the first time that's happening. So when he said, so the king comes and he spots her there, and he's consumed by grief. So he feels like a creeper that has been severed from the tree. She looks like a goddess that has fallen down, like a kinnari, like an apsara. Uh, like a female deer that's been tied down. So he's thinking, what's happening here? Like an elephant is nursing its calf, which has been hit. He's coming there. He takes her head on his lap. He's sitting there and said, "What's happening with you? Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Is it somebody else? Tell me. What is the cause of your anger? Let me know so that I will be able to give it a solution, etc." So, what are are you having a health issue? Is it PMS? What is it? Can I call a physician for this? What's happening in this? Um, just tell me, and I will make. Or is it somebody who has actually done something wrong to you? Then tell me who that person is. You want to make that rich man poor? I will make him. You want to make a poor man rich? I will do that. You want to finish somebody? I will do that. Tell me what needs to be done. Even if it means sacrificing my life, I shall do that. I swear on my merits. I shall do whatever pleases you. He says, this whole earth is under this thing. What is there that I can't do for you? So she steps it up. How does she step it up? She looks the other way around. After all this dialogue, I think he thought he's giving very effective dialogue. She looked away. Then she speaks. Nobody has affected me. I have a purpose that needs to be fulfilled. Now comes those cold words. She's really being herself. If inclined to, then promise me that you will fulfill these. So he takes her hair in his hands with a clear, bright smile. Dasharatha says, Manujo Manuja Vyagra Ramat Anyana Vidyate. He says, among women, there is nobody dearer to me than you. And among men, there is nobody dearer to me than Rama. Then, she's thinking, so he's saying Rama. So maybe he will not fulfill. So then, in the name of Rama, he is swearing in the name of Rama. Without seeing who, I for sure cannot live a moment. Without seeing Rama, I cannot live. I swear by his name that I will fulfill your desire. So, the king's affection for Rama is coming out. He says, you know, even if I have to give up the rest of my life, I will do that. Rest of my sons, other than Rama, if I have to give up, If I were to give my authority, now I'm ready to do that. Do not doubt me. At that time, she shocks him by suddenly bringing external personalities. Okay, you said this. Now I'm going to record what you said, or I'm going to when somebody says something like this, it's going to throw the person off. Yeah. So what is she doing? She is now saying, for the words that you have spoken, who is the sakshi? The moon, the sun, the sky, the planets, the day, the night, the 10 quarters, the dishas, the Gandharvas, the Rakshasas, the earth, the nocturnal spirits, family deities of every home, and all other beings listen to your words of promise. King Dasaratha, who is true to his vows, heroic, knows the ways of righteousness, is granting me boons with a well composed mind. So now she's all putting legal terms. So he's thinking, he's suddenly taken aback. What's happening here? It has always been an exchange of love, and I thought this is an exchange of love, but this seems to have bigger ramifications. So then she's saying, please remember, there was a time. Actually, this memory, Manthara gives this to her. Manthara says, you told me this before, I remember this very well. So when the Devasura Yuddha was happening, at that time when you went to fight for Indra, you had been, I think, Sambara was the name of the Asura. He had hit you and you had swooned and you were down. At that time, I rescued, protected you, and then you gave me 2 boons. I completely forgot. I never utilized those boons. I need those 2 boons now. Can somebody tell me what the 2 boons are? Can somebody has the actual verse by any chance? Or just give me the 2 boons. What are the 2 boons?
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Jan.
Prabhu, I'm not sure like exact word to word, but they basically meant that to send Lord Rama to exile and crown Bharata as the new king of Ayodhya.
Very nice. She says the other way around. First, Abhisheka Samarambho, whatever Samarambha has been done, Ragavasya, what has been done for Rama, on the same, using the same facility, using the same this thing, you have to do that for Bharata. That's the first point. Now, that's a bit of a shocker for him, but the bigger shock comes later. Nava Panchacha Varshani, Dandakaranya Shritaha. That Nava Panchacha, 9 and 5, that he needs to. Chirajina Jatadhari Ramo Bhavatu Tapasaha. That Rama has to go, they live the life of a tapasvi, wearing chira, the deer skin, and having matted hair. He should go there. Let me see Rama's departure to the forest, and then final condition, she says, I want this happening today. Don't delay. This has to happen today. Don't delay this. Wow, what a hit. Any comments, questions, any additions, anything that I'm missing out on? So Dasharatha realizes that he has been trapped. After she makes a mention of this and says that this has to be implemented immediately, don't delay. He swoons, he falls immediately. Words, he has no words. He just sinks down on the floor, on his feet, and boom. And he says, Dik Kashtam. What is this? What have I gotten into? Is this a dream or am I being hallucinated at this point in time? Yes, I feel like a deer that has been attacked by a tigress, heaving deep sighs like a venomous snake. He completely fainted. Then he wakes up. Did I do any harm? That's possible. But Rama can never do harm to you. What harm did he do to you? You are such a nrisamshe, dushta charitre. You know what a woman you are. Rama is somebody who's never done any harm to anybody at any point in time. There is not one living being in this whole nation who will ever come. He's my beloved son. What crime has he done? Yes, how shall I abandon him? Rama has done greater service to you than Bharata. Bharata was never here, literally. Yes, And Rama has done all those things. What thousands of attendants can do for you, that much seva Rama has done for you. A speckless Rama. How can I go to him and tell him that I'm giving him Vanavasa for this period? Yes, he's got all those great qualities. He has never spoken an unkind word to him. You are making me speak this to Rama. How will I see his face? How will I see the reaction on his face when this is going to happen? Yes, without him, tam rite mam mama kagatihi. If he is not there, which shoulder will I go to cry? Yes, he is my firstborn, and without him I cannot live. I will lose my life. My life will lose meaning. Why have you got this dreadful thought? How is this happening? Deenam lalapyamanasya karunyam kartumarhasi. He says, please, I deserve your mercy. Yes, I'm falling at his feet. Lalapyamanasya, crying. Swam manyur avisheshataha. He says, please don't show anger. Apite charano murdhna. At your feet, I put my head. I'm your husband. I'm the king. I'm the father. I'm the leader of the family. I'm respected. I'm older than you. I'm so many things, but I'm ready to put my feet on you, my head on your feet. But please don't do this. Yes. Sharanam bhava Ramasya. Please give shelter to Rama. Save Rama. Rama should not go through this particular situation. Param shokam. So in this very, very great shoka that Dasaratha is in, Dasaratha faints again. Dasaratha is down and out. The next time. Comments, questions? Chapter 12, done. Chapter 11, sort of done. I think some chapters are overlapping. So we already move into the COVID zone. Feb 27th. By now we are all shut and indoors. But Rama is keeping us alive. We are happily listening to Ramayana. So he says, actually, you're a curse. In the name of a princess, you were actually a snake. And I was playing with you like a child. I didn't understand. I held your hands. Amidst the chanting of the mantras. But now I disown that hand. I disown you. I disown your son. And he says, when I die, I don't want Bharata to do my final rites. I don't want him to do that. And he curses. He says, women in themselves, are this is shameful that they can do so much harm and they can be so secretive in being in doing such harm. Yeah, for their selfish interests, they've done this. So this is where we discussed about how he's blaming the entire women race for that. So then, why are your teeth with which you are now speaking still there? Why they are not falling on the ground? Yes. Why is your hard heart not breaking at this point in time? Why is my heart not bursting when you hear something like this? Whatever materials have been consecrated, Rama will, instead of his coronation, it looks like he will perform my final rites with that. He says, Rama is my pleasure. Aputrena maya putra ashramena mahatmahan. If death comes to me right now, I shall be very happy because I will not have to inflict suffering on Rama. Rama is still in front of me. I am very happy to die at this point in time. When I see my son, I rejoice. Oh, I forget this thing. I become young again. Why do you think, despite being so old, I've remained young? That's because of Rama, the pleasure that Rama gives me. So he's wailing, weeping, requesting that she show him favor. He is going there and touching her feet. He's actually falling at her feet. and she moves her feet away. Uh, and because she moves away, he falls and collapses like a sick man. He has never been humiliated or been in a situation like this in his entire life. So Dasharatha says, I feel so bad, I feel like I'm selling my son simply because of a woman. Uh, Even Yama will not forgive me for this. How will I face Kaikeyi? Yes. Uh, you know, how will I call Rama? He will not experience, I don't want him to experience pain like this. So then uh, Dasharatha is saying, finally, I'm bound by righteousness. My intelligence is destroyed. I wish to see my firstborn. So uh, he wants to see Rama, but it's in the night already. It's very late. So at that time, he is saying, why? I don't wish to see dawn. May this night be there eternally. But then he says, I'm not able to take this pain that I'm with Kaikeyi. May this pass as quickly as possible. So he doesn't understand what's happening. So already in the morning, Sumantra and Vashishta and all of these people started getting their articles ready, and the whole Mahol arrangement is going on. Everything is getting ready at that time. So Vashishta is telling Sumantra to go ahead and inform the king that all the other kings have come. So please get ready. So Sumantra goes there to wake the king up. So nobody detained Sumantra. So when he approaches the king's chamber, he stood behind the screen and he's seeing. So he's thinking, oh, the king is still in bed. Very unusual. Maybe, it's a big day. So there must have been various things for him to do. So with folded hands, he's praising him in various ways. And Dasharatha is in pain. He says, your words are not pleasing me today. They're only causing me pain, Sumantra. So Sumantra suddenly realizes there's something very, very wrong. And he sort of like somebody who's bitten by a snake, he just moves back immediately. Having seen this, his wretched state, Sumantra is basically moves back a little away and is waiting for instructions. So then, instead of Sumantra speaking, instead of Dasharatha speaking, she's saying, please go and bring Rama. Yes, let there be no. The king had not had any sleep in the night, very, very tired. So please go bring Rama. So Sumantra understands that there's something a little funny. So when he goes down, he takes a small detour. He sees all the kings are there. He's got to manage them because he is a very senior person there. So the kings are asking, oh, where is the king? When is he coming? I want to meet Dasharatha. It's such a wonderful da. So he's torn between these two. He comes back to Dasharatha. Dasharatha says, why are you back here? An instruction has been given. Fulfill that. So he's suddenly shocked. And what's happening here? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Between the various things. So he's going now towards to meet Rama. So this is a beautiful description of Rama's chamber and all of that. Let me see if that's the immediate next chapter. There's a 15, 16, 14, 15. Then, as part of this thing, he's saying, he's cursing Kaikeyi in many, many ways. And then he says, Rama has always lived a very, very, he's a young man. This is the time he should be enjoying his life. But because he's been following brahmacharya, he's been following so many things, it's not been there. How will he walk barefoot? How will he, for what, how he has lived here, how will this be? Then he says, Rama is a bad son. That's my problem. Why is he a bad son? Can somebody tell me? Why is Rama a bad son?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dasharatha says this because he listens to whatever he says. And even if Dasharatha tells him to go to the forest, he would obey his instruction and listen to his father. So he says this is a bad quality.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. So, he's not a son who will say no. If he is a son who will say no, I'd be happy in this particular situation, but that's not him. So then he says, I'm feeling so bad that I have a son like this who's so obedient, and that is my problem. So um, that is more or less the end of that chapter there. Then we'll go on to Sumantra. So Sumantra is now wading through the huge crowds and all these people, despite being addressed by different people, asked about the king, etc., and then moves off because he already got admonished. So this beautiful description, paneled doors, hundreds of galleries, uh, the whole building was as if it's like a big mountain of gold, garlands, diamonds, pearls, sandalwood, fragrances, peacocks, sarasas, yes, images carved of deer, brilliant splendor, resplendent home, the abode like Kubera. And there's kiratas, there are hunters, so many people, bosom friends of Rama, and there's a happy buzz all over the place. The place is just rift. The elephants and the important ministers and the velvet clad Shatrunjaya, all of that is everything is waiting uh, for this thing. So the aged security are informing Rama that Sumantra is coming. He requests Sumantra to come in immediately. And then Sumantra is seeing there that Rama is well adorned. There's pure, fragrant sandalwood paste and color. All of that is there, adorned with that. He's lying on a richly covered golden couch with his hair left out like that, and with Sita standing by his side, fanning him, and he looks so resplendent and shining. So Sumantra sees him and humbly comes in front of and offers salutations to Rama, comes in front of him. Um, and then Sumantra communicates. He says that Pitatvam, that your father wants to actually meet you. So Rama says, is telling Sita that it looks like my well-wisher, which is he is referring to the father, and he says well-wisher. The news that he's going to get is how well is it? That's to be seen. But he's telling Sita that my well-wisher and my father and the queen are calling me, so I will go. Must be something related to the coronation. So then Sita is happy seeing him off there, and then he moves. So she chants a verse in protection for Rama, the verse which Indra was chanted for Indra, like that, for the protection of Rama, and sends him off to say that let me see you come back on that big elephant with an umbrella on top of you as the emperor. Um, So then, with the sounds of musical instruments and this, that, the roaming of the warriors, all of that, men and women all over the place. As Rama is going in his chariot towards that space, he's able to hear voices, people cheering him, people praising him. So many of these people standing on the housetops, just as when Krishna is going in Dwarka, the people, so many ladies of Dwarka are standing on top of the housetop, showering flowers. They are showering wonderful words. They are showering glances on Krishna. In a similar manner, all of these people are propitiating Rama in many ways. And to say that Kaushalya will be very happy, today is a great day for her, and all that. So then Rama is watching all of this splendor. Again, there is a beautiful description of how beautifully everything is decorated. Um, and people are talking about how Rama's rule will even be better than his father's rule, and the people are so eager to see him being crowned. Um, they're just feasting their eyes on Rama. So when that's that beautiful verse that comes. Let me find that verse. Yascha Ramam na pashyetu, yam cha Ramo na pashyati, nindanti sarvalokeshu, swatma api Nag vigarhate. That person who is not fortunate enough to see Rama, that person who is not fortunate enough to be seen by Rama, what is that point? What is the point in such a person living in this particular world? We need to basically think of that particular aspect. And then, seeing all this, he basically enters Dasharatha's palace. So he crosses through multiple courtyards. He goes in there, enters the private chambers of the king. People are delighted to see him as they are coming in. And then he is going to get to hear what is happening inside. Any comments till now? Hey, it's almost time. What I want to hear from all of you, people who have been regulars to this Ramayana, I want to hear from you. What has Ramayana meant to you? We have spent 2 years and 1 month speaking on Ramayana, constantly hearing about and thinking of Rama. What has Ramayana meant to you? Can I hear from you? What has this 2 years meant to you? How has it changed your perspective? Uh, uh, you know, what has your experience? How was this whole experience of hearing such a slow-paced Ayodhya Kanda story? Please share some of your experiences. Let me hear from you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We have heard Ramayana, of course, it's the most popular discourse which we can hear. And this is the first time ever I'm hearing like verse by verse or chapter by chapter, and there's so many things which has been missed by the very popular, Ramayana speakers, especially from Sri Sampradaya, which I've noticed, like the small nuances we can say, like how, in Ayodhya Kanda, we saw like how Sita has been asked to wear that the bark. Those things I haven't heard it. First time I'm hearing it. It's really, it puts us in perspective, and how the interaction between Rama and Sita, all that small details are really, it shows that how compassionate Rama is and how his dealings with it. It's really beautiful, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Others, you can speak up. Jayant, can you move it all to to speaker mode, so whoever is speaking, we can see them also.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Mamta.
Yes, Mamta ji.
Prabhuji, I think these sessions of Ramayana has taken us more closer to Lord Sri Ram. Means I feel I'm more closer to him than I was before. So I think I got more connected to Ramji, and I love him even more. I think so. This is my opinion, and this gives me a lot of happiness. This gives me life also, Prabhuji. This is my experience.
Jai, very happy to hear that from you. Hey, Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, boli. And after that, Jayant and Nandarani.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This entire session, not only in these 2 years, but starting from the Balkanda, it was like 2018 or maybe before. Such a detailed description of Ramayana, and then we all knew that how what it was a austerity for even for you to study and then make sure, and then so much of reading, so much of research being done from the various acharyas, and then giving to us. I guess this should be for us and for a complete lifetime. Specific to the Ayodhya Kanda, as Mataji also mentioned, the entire details what we listened, and what the takeaways for us for everyday life, and learnings for everyday lives. For example, doing pradakshina to our parents and doing pradakshina to the culture, and how even Lord Rama was so generous that even while going to the forest, he gave away to the brahmanas and etc. There was one brahmana, I don't remember the name. He just told him, wherever you can see or wherever throw, its entire wealth is yours, and then he was so happy. So, and then coming back to also to the son of Vasishtha, he showed so much of respect, and so much of the Ayodhya Kanda I can speak more, but till this chapter, was going to discussion between Kaikayi and Dasaratha. What I personally took, it's so much of negotiation skills, but can also, take from how hard it was for Dasaratha and how easy for it was for Kaikayi to give examples of the entire Raghu dynasty, etc. And and then so much of dharma what we spoke on. It was really amazing journey. One personal thing, yes, you also told, of course, we as Gaudiya Vaishnava, we have this Ayittukiya Pratihata, but then we also discussed after this Ayodhya Kanda, if you listen, your family gets more bonded. And I had this personal experience with my daughter and others also. So entire family got so much bonded. So this is a personal realization I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Very happy
Thank you.
to hear that. Very happy to hear that. I'm definitely Krishna's pleased. See, so far as we become experts, good grahastas in this day and age, where marriages have a 50% divorce rate, and even those who are married, they may live under the same roof or they don't see eye to eye with each other. These are very, very painful times. We set very bad examples for children. Children go through a lot of this thing and they become worse. The next generation becomes worse. So it's a way to adogati. If we are able to actually be good grastas, set good examples, then we are doing a great thing by re-establishing, helping putting Varnashrama principles well in place by doing our little responsibility well. And I think in that, definitely Rama's actions and this whole learning from Ramayana, it definitely helps us there. Any other comments? We are at 9 o'clock. Jayant and I think Nandarani or Gokul Tarini, one of the hands I saw.
Nandarani Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Sorry,
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Nandarani.
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, firstly, I really want to thank you for the time you're giving. It really makes a huge difference the way you explain it. And I really realized that Ramayana is like an ocean, and you're actually giving us a taste of that. And especially like in the beginning when we used to come for the face-to-face classes before it became online, those few weeks when you were discussing about Dashratha's emotions, we really used to feel like we are there and we're able to experience or we're able to understand what he's feeling. And those few weeks that used to go in our mind constantly. And even the way you explain and extract the important insights and the lessons from each pastime or a specific episode of the Katha, it allows us to practically apply that in our dealings with Vaishnavas, in our behavior, our attitude with our parents, with our family members, our friends, etc. So that has really helped us so much, Prabhu, and we really thank you so much for that.
I only look at this as when we take a responsibility like this, that we have to be here week after week in the same time. Krishna's grace. I was in a job which was very difficult. I quit. I started a business. There are multiple things that have happened on our personal front. But I think Rama gave me this opportunity through all of you, through each of you, with the encouragement that we got. It gave me the opportunity that I have to be fixed in this, irrespective of what comes. I've had to, for health reasons or something else inevitably that came. Sometimes I've had to take time off, but the compulsion that I have to study to prepare for this class, I think is a blessing that Rama has given. Because of that, my life has been very fixed in Krishna consciousness and Rama consciousness, very, very serious. So I'm thankful to all of you. I'm thankful to Rama. I'm thankful to Valmiki for this. Any other comments? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, yes, firstly, again, I would like to thank you for giving us a platform to understand Ramayana, and then also letting me serve you and Lord Rama. Prabhu, one thing I've realized is, I don't know if it's only me, but with Lord Rama's, like when we talk about Lord Rama, we also at times are discussing about other personalities like Lakshmana and King Dashrath. Like their personality also influences at times more than Lord Rama because of their nature towards Lord Rama. Like there was this one point where Lakshmana like Lakshmana gave up everything for Lord Rama, and there was this one night where he was awake the whole night. In fact, he was awake the whole 14 years for Lord Rama, and then he gave up so much just for Lord Rama, just to serve him. And then King Dashrath, how he like every decision making, he took advice from each and every person present out there. He invited other kings. He included his praja also for the decision making. Whereas other than King Dashrath, I've never heard any other king do as so. And this was exactly which is why King Dashrath ruled for more than 60 years. 60,000 years. I'm sorry, 60,000 years. So yeah, like especially Lakshmana and Sumantra and Dashrath. These three personalities have also influenced me more as like as much as Lord Rama's personality has done.
Absolutely. I totally appreciate where you're coming from, because I did know Dasharatha was such a, what a great personality. And in reality, in many ways, speckless. And what affection for the Lord, what a great Lakshmana's role. Sumantra was another discovery. The kind of affection that he had, the kind of care that he had for Rama. These are outstanding examples of people. I think Sumitra was also another very, very interesting discovery that comes out again from Ayodhya Kanda. That what a mother, and how attached to Rama. She's saying, "Gacha, gacha, Lakshmana, go." Yes, which mother will do that? So all of these fantastic personalities come out of Ramayana. I think we are seeing them closer. We recognize each of them. To me, it's like we become more pally with some of them, and it's like like a long lost friend. You sort of know them much better now after having gone through in this kind of detail. We have a long distance to go any which ways. We are 26% complete, so we have long distance to go. Nice points. Thank you. Anybody else? Can we wrap? Hare Krishna. Hey, again, big thanks. Great encouragement coming from all of you in this connection. So, Ramarupa Prabhu, Nandrani, Gokul Taruni, Gauri Mataji, Jayant, Lakshmi Mataji, Hemarupa Prabhu, big support. Gidwani ji, Pranam, and Mataji, Vaishnavi, Mamta Mataji, Chamili, thank you for being here. We will go through this one more time so that we become experts in Ayodhya Kanda. And then my desire is, if Rama permits, when Ram Navami is coming on 10th of April. So before 10th of April, we will see if we can get possibly something like a 3-hour slot where we will just quick run through the entire Ayodhya Kanda. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, Prabhuji, we think so.
I mean, it will be a Herculean task to run through that at that kind of pace. Like we spent an hour today, but I think it's very, very much possible. If we go through this, then we will all. I think everyone in this forum is now actually capable of speaking on Ramayana, which I think is what I'm very happy about, and I really look forward to the kind of comments and the support. We've been missing some of our elders and some of the action in recent times, but that's okay. People sometimes circumstances don't permit us to be, but you've all been very contributive. A big thanks. Thank you for all this encouragement, and let's all together mic on and for Jai Gosha, and then we'll wrap for the day. Everybody, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai.
Jai.